minutes now.
Uh-oh.
3 minutes now, baby recorder says.
Just had a fresh cup of water with some iodine in it. Clean up my pineal gland.
Sure wasn't.
That's actually very
fluoride?
golden. No. Well, we got to stay away from the fluoride. So this is the Golden Debate Show. We're fresh off the Golden Show. Go to earlymorningmod.com and like, comment, share, and download. That's the only way that we get the word of the show out. We hunt big media, and we hunt all these big game media cats, and we try to keep open minds, not empty ones, and give you the golden knowledge, and hitting them in the face is correct.
Roasted peanuts, everyone.
Shaman.
Capo fettuccine.
Don't have to. We just need cash.
A shyster show up and
you say.
Golden Debate Show. Yeah, the Golden Debate Show.
So let's start it off with my man, 2 Minute News from
Hey YouTube, welcome to another episode of News in 2 Minutes, bringing you the news that you need to know every day. Let's begin. Growing anti-government protests are spreading within Canada after residents began reporting incidents of police brutality and heavy-handed tactics used by authorities to diminish growing concerns over the methods that are used during the fracking process, in which dangerous chemicals are pumped through veins deep underground to break up shale rock and capture escaping gas and oil. Authorities in a southern Indian port city on Friday arrested the crew of a U.S. escape on charges of illegally transporting weapons and ammunition into Indian waters without declaring their existence. The ship's captain has reportedly told Indian authorities that the Virginia-owned company provides armed security to merchant vessels traveling through the region, but could not explain why police seized up to 40 automatic weapons and nearly 6,000 rounds of ammunition from the security guards on the ship. When speaking to reporters, the U.S. Embassy in New Delhi said that it had no comment on the ship or the crewmen, suggesting that there could be more to the story than what is officially being told. Authorities in Brazil have deployed over 1,000 military servicemen and multiple police units to guard against growing protests and political outrage over the auctioning off of oil field rights to the highest bidder, where China is seen as taking another large stake in the global oil market as behind-the-scenes geopolitical wars on energy continue at a frantic pace. Scientists believe that Comet Ison will begin brightening by the end of October as it nears the sun, and have increased their estimates that it will present a once-in-a-lifetime experience after data supplied by NASA's Hubble telescope showed that the comet's nucleus was holding together as a solid mass. A physics professor at Duke University published a report showing that chaos generators within trending reports not dissimilar to what we use can not only show the possibility of an impending extreme event such as a market crash or regional unrest, but can also flag the events leading up to those extremes. And to wrap things up, a new case of the MERS coronavirus is being...
Before we get into some clipperies, I also wanted to read this because I found this to be pretty crazy, guys. So let's see if I can read this without stammering and stammering. Hail, everybody. IBM unravels computer fed by electronic blood. Check it out. The firm says that it is learning from nature by building computers cooled by a liquid like our minds. The human brain packed phenomenal computing power into a tiny space and uses only 20 watts of energy, an efficiency IBM is taking likely to match. Its new Redix flow system pumps electrode blood through a computer, carrying power in and out, taking heat out, and pumping in cool fluid. A very basic model was demonstrated this week at the technology giant's lab. That is definitely not God. Yeah, that's one step away from Skynet.
Oreos are just as addictive as cocaine. According to a study from Connecticut College, researchers found that eating Oreos activated more neurons in the pleasure center of rats' brains than exposure to cocaine or morphine. The study also found out that, like most humans, rats like to eat the Oreo cookie's creamy middle first. Oreos are just as addictive as cocaine.
Roundups, in which horses are chased across open land into makeshift corrals,
so check
and then
out
loaded
this
into
stuff.
trailers to head to auction. Many of the horses end up in slaughterhouses in Canada and Mexico. Their meat exported to China or Europe, where, unlike the U.S., horse meat is regularly consumed. The United States shut down horse slaughterhouses in this country 6 years ago when it prohibited federal funding for inspectors. But recently, Congress removed that prohibition. And this summer, the USDA awarded the first permit that would allow horse slaughter to resume in the U.S. It was a decision that ignited a nationwide debate about the practice of killing horses for meat. And population control are very expensive remedies. Euthanasia costs roughly $300 per horse,
it's an animal.
and that's not including the cost to round it up. And right now, contraception for wild horses is difficult to administer. It involves shooting darts from
At least, hold on, I'll apologize for it. At least it isn't like GMO food or like all this fake Elpo shit, like you said. I mean, at least it's horse meat. It's an animal. So, you know what I mean? If people want to eat that, that should be up to them. Exactly. Well, that's where it comes into, is how they're taking
helicopters with a treatment that must be re-injected every 2 years. Rios is opposed to slaughter, but she says it's not a simple issue. She says horses are dying every day, in trucks as they're shipped out of the country, and on the rangeland when they run out of food. She thinks the government has been delinquent by not spending enough money to deal with the problem.
It's inhumane to let animals starve to death, dehydrate to death, procreate at a level that the environment is unable to support. So that's why at the shelter, we wouldn't just say we were against slaughter. We are for humane alternatives.
And the other
so this next clip is a David Packen clip, and it's about Glenn Beck, who's an Alex Jones type of a guy.
There's a lot of allusions and references to the end times and kind of dystopian nightmares.
That shit could be in a couple seconds. It could be in 1,000 years. We don't know.
Refer to those regularly. And Glenn Beck now is putting a bit of a timeline on exactly when the U.S. will turn into a dystopian nightmare. It's not that far away. Take a listen.
Down in one of those catacombs.
Definitely two. Most of Americans are going to be working part-time. There will be some IMF global tax that will add an extra 10% on everything.
Get that mac and cheese. Everybody deserves their mac and cheese.
Business. And the people that have done favors for this government will be in business. And they'll be fine. And we'll be the little worker bees. And they will test your children and train them from the very beginning to work for the corporation.
Okay, so it's definitely close now. That's good. Isn't it a little curious, Lewis, how these dystopian situations, sometimes they're Bible-based, sometimes they're more in this style that Glenn Beck presents, more the kind of one world government police state type takeovers. They're always just far enough away that it still makes sense to keep sending money to Glenn Beck or to whoever it is, but close enough that you just start to panic a little bit in the back of your mind. It's always that. It's never 200 years away, right? If Glenn Beck were to say the dystopian nightmare is 200 years away, it's not effective enough. At the same time, if Glenn Beck says the dystopian nightmare is a week away, it's probably time to cancel your Glenn Beck subscription. So it's never that. It's always perfectly timed.
Yeah, he's a master of this. He's a master of making people afraid. And maybe within 2 years, this master plan of his that I've talked about will be revealed, where people basically give them all their money.
Right.
We'll see.
So you actually think that Glenn Beck may be setting up some kind of a almost cult-like poison Kool-Aid drinking, except instead of literally drinking poison Kool-Aid, you just turn over all of your assets to Glenn Beck and give him power of attorney over all of your
breaking news, and it is a
decisions.
horrific discovery. The body of a baby has been discovered inside a bag in a store in Manhattan. The discovery was made after security guards at a Victoria's Secret in Herald Square approached two teenagers who were acting suspiciously.
Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson in Herald Square with the story. Kimberly.
Well, right now, police are inside this flagship store. They've been there since about 1:30 this afternoon, and they will be there for some time. If you take a look right now, Victoria's Secret is open, but the investigation is focused on the lower level, specifically the employee break room, which is closed. Now, authorities say security inside the store initially spotted two 17-year-olds. This is video of one of them. The two young girls were acting suspiciously. One of the young ladies was carrying a bag. A worker asked that young lady what was inside the bag. Sources tell Eyewitness News one of the girls replied, "Human remains." That's when police were called. Sources tell Eyewitness News police discovered something horrific inside that bag. A baby, sources say, was nearly full term. One of the girls was taken to Bellevue Medical Center. The teen suspected of giving birth to that baby. The other to the Midtown South Police Precinct, where at this hour she is being questioned. Back here live right now, crime scene investigators are inside that store, along with investigators from the medical examiner's office. Of course, employees.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
We'll be on top of this
I
one and
rise
bring you
then to
anything
speak
new. For now, we're live in Midtown.
for
Kimberly
approximately
Richardson,
10
Channel
minutes.
7.
Objection.
Mr. President, we're 33 hours
Like, comment, share, and download Golden
away
Debate Show.
from the possible default of the United States of America on its debt obligations. We're 33 hours away from the possibility of the United States of America becoming a deadbeat nation, not paying its bills to its own people and other creditors.
Disgusting.
We're 33 hours away from our T-bills
She had to say that shit 33 times.
becoming a junk bond.
Compassion and loyalty to a brother in arms.
Westbrook dies a month later at Walter Reed, but Swenson stayed in touch with his family, who were at the ceremony today.
I looked into a room that was there to support me, but I was there to support them, and I will continue to be there to support them. My colleagues, the families of the fallen. It was a powerful moment.
So was September 8th, 2009. U.S. forces got ambushed by 60 Taliban en route to meet village elders. The battle lasted more than 6 hours. For more than 90 minutes, Swenson radioed for help, then pushed through enemy fire to recover the fallen and injured. Marine Sergeant Dakota Meyer was given the Medal of Honor 2 years ago for his actions. 5 Americans were killed, 2 dozen injured.
Deserves their mac and cheese.
They're trying to wake you up.
But could I always hope that the outcome could have been different? Yeah.
The real question is, could the U.S. military have done anything differently? Swenson accused his commanders of not sending air support and artillery, complaining loudly strict rules of engagement in Afghanistan cost U.S. troops their lives. 2 senior commanders faced career-ending reprimands as a result. Swenson's nomination was, quote, lost by the Army for 19 months.
While this is a story of uncommon heroism, is it also fair to say that it was an uncommon path to today's medal ceremony?
Absolutely. It's been a long 4 years, Ray, for Will Swenson. He has left the military 2 years ago, and he went back to his native Seattle, where he's from, where he went to college, and he has really kept a low profile. In part, I think, because of the controversy surrounding his award. There is a lot of allegations that the Army was concerned about his criticism, concerned about what kind of representation he would give if he was on a public stage like this. However, there's been pressure from outside, both from reports in the media, but also a U.S. congressman got involved, asking what happened to this nomination. He deserves the award. He's got it today. He stood up there like a good soldier and accepted the award, and that was back in his uniform, so it was a very powerful moment.
To discuss that, you got to be pretty disgusting.
Taking the vote.
As he does at all medal ceremonies, he told the story.
She started wilding out, so let's get into that. By the way, White House audio sucks.
He will not be mocked. He will not be mocked. Don't touch me. He will not be mocked. The greatest deception here is this is not one nation under God. It never was. Had it been, it would not have been. No. It would not have been. The Constitution would not have been written by Freemasons. They go against God. It would not have been. The Constitution would not have been written by Freemasons. They go against God. You cannot serve 2 masters.
Down there in one of those catacombs. There's other guys, but they look like, I don't know. This don't make
Wanted to show you the comments of the president. Also, you may have seen at the very end of the vote that a woman came to the dais and was speaking. The mics were off. Those mics are controlled by the House Radio and TV gallery. The microphones were off. But here's the reporting of Jamie Dupree from Cox Radio on that issue. He says one of the House stenographers had to be taken off the floor after getting up and screaming during the vote. We'll update that story as we are able to in the next couple of minutes.
we can begin to lift this cloud of uncertainty and unease from our businesses and from the American people. I'll have more to say about this tomorrow, and I've got some thoughts about how we can move forward in the remainder of the year and stay focused on the job at hand. Because there's a lot of work ahead of us, including our need to earn back the trust of the American people that's been lost over the last few weeks. And we can begin to do that by addressing the real issues that they care about. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm willing to work with anybody. I am eager to work with anybody, Democrat or Republican, House or Senate members, on any idea that will grow our economy, create new jobs, strengthen the middle class, and get our fiscal house in order for the long term. I've never believed that Democrats have a monopoly on good ideas, and despite the differences over the issue of shutting down our government, I'm convinced that Democrats and Republicans can work together to make progress.
Some Peninsula residents were surprised by an emergency message they received.
Yeah, some 27,000 Palo Alto residents got this noisy smartphone emergency alert about, of all things, a charity pancake breakfast. No, it obviously was not an emergency. KPIX5's Len Ramirez spoke to some people who say the fire department is abusing this system.
The instant message went out on the county's emergency notification system to tens of thousands of people in Palo Alto all at once.
I got the alert in 3 ways. I got a text, an email, and a phone call.
Under the header Alert SCC, the Palo Alto Fire Department sent out word that they were A, holding a pancake breakfast Saturday morning, and B, that a helicopter would be landing at a local school for demonstration purposes only.
In retrospect, if I had to do it again, I probably would put the helicopter in the first or second sentence.
Fire Chief Eric Nickel defended using the alert system, which was designed primarily for major emergencies, and says so on the system's homepage, for the community event which benefited Project Safety Net.
In Hawaii, a JPAC team returned with remains from Vietnam and World War II. The as of yet unknown remains received full military honors, while veterans from different generations saluted.
I think it's so important. It's a closure for not only the families and those that serve themselves, but to all those that are currently serving and that have served, to show that we fulfill the responsibility of bringing our folks home.
The remains will now go to the Joint POW-MIA Accounting Command Central Identification Laboratory. There, scientists will begin finding out who these heroes are. Nick Tovo.
You brought up a concept that you've been talking about with Republican women. Tell Peter, and let's see if he agrees. So about how this could be solved.
So Peter, if we put all the women, Republican and Democrat, in the House together, the consensus from all of us is that we would get this done in a few hours.
Peter?
Well, I don't know. I think you should put Sarah Palin in there also, Debbie, and that would really...
You know,
no, listen,
you know, I would argue that even if Sarah Palin were in the room, that we could find a way to get to yes. Because
unfair
that's usually a women's goal.
Peter, how do we get to the end of this? And how do Republicans save face? And
every day, y'all. Right now. Every day. Right now. Listen. Brooklyn wins again. It's the styles, the Bush, them niggas again. Talk Wally, Mighty Deaf, and that style on the guest. Like Kanye, you let the dope man and hip hop, let's rock. And roll out, niggas. My hometown, niggas. I get it good in your hood, so slow down, niggas. Watch the speed, though. Mind your pedal and ease off. A screech off into a collision cause for these walls. Life passion, life fashion, life happens that fast. Party done. Black hands up in prayer, black guns up in bed. Dying wishes to touch the air. Seeking heaven, it wasn't here. Eyes will not see another year. It's another day. It's the same fight, different rounds. Sound a bell, mix it up in victory. You live it up, the beat it, get risen up. Get knocked down and get back and get it up. Get off of Queer Street and get with us. And get clear where we get it from the heart, from the people, from the top, from the deep, from the gut, from the street, from my soul to the mic, to the essence. Clear my eyes, exactly. I make content with me and mine don't just get by. You blow happiness to the low sky.
You know your neighborhood. Keep an eye on it.
stranger taking a shortcut through the backyard next door might have broken into your neighbor's home. Report it.
A strange car parked illegally might be loaded with stolen goods waiting to make a getaway. Report it.
That loud fight next door might be the start of a violent crime. Report it.
If you see a prowler at night, don't frighten him away by turning on a light. Report it.
Remember, by helping us apprehend a criminal, you'll make sure that you're not his next victim. I guess you can sum it up in 2 words.
What's that?
Get involved.
This is information the world needs to know.
He's beyond the web. You still think it's just a little website?
Yeah.
This is information the world needs to know.
It's beyond the law. You still think it's just a little website?
This is information the world needs to know.
It's beyond the law.
These days, living with a higher risk of stroke due to AFib, a type of irregular heartbeat, not caused by a heart valve problem. At first, I took warfarin, but I wondered, could I up my game? My doctor told me about Eliquis, and 3 important reasons to take Eliquis instead.
What is the pending business before the Senate?
The Senate is in a quorum call.
Thank you, Madam President. I think we're growing weary of the hammerlock in our government. Don't we want to reopen CDC? I could go into the fact that we could go over diseases after diseases, infections after infections that they won't be monitored. Let's take the common one. Flu deserves their mac and cheese. Sniffles, but the sniffles can also kill people. 3,000 Americans die from flu. Vaccines can prevent the flu. We now, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, are out making sure there's enough vaccine available that it is being distributed fairly and equitably in the United States. This is what they do. And did you also know that they're disease detectives?
George Clooney.
Many people don't know that they're disease detectives.
So what does Senator What he does is he pays for a satellite that spies on Sudan. Its government has been accused of serious crimes against the people of South Sudan, which became an independent state a couple of years ago. And Mr. Clooney has been campaigning to stop them. I've been talking to the woman who runs his satellite project, Akshaya Kumar, which she described as an anti-genocide paparazzi team.
Over 11%. I mean, I think
What he does is he pays for a satellite that spies on Sudan. Its government has been accused of serious crimes.
Passed in the last 80 years that protect the middle class and working families. Oh yeah, $700 million today to save wild horses and burros, and yet they won't even allow me to discuss that. Disgusting. These other guys, what they look like, I don't know. The extension of health insurance to Obamacare, that's not enough to know. Mr. Speaker, I think
Diane, these officers have some of the highest security clearances you can get.
Blocks him away from the out. They come to share and download GoldenDebateShow. Keep open minds, not empty one. That's the only way to stay golden. Just look up in your hand.
Michael Carey, the 2-star general responsible for the nation's 3 intercontinental ballistic missile wings, is fired from his command. The reason? Personal misbehavior on a military business trip. This comes just 48 hours after President Obama himself relieved the number 2 in command over the nation's nuclear arsenal over his suspected use of counterfeit poker chips. These follow an alarming string of general officers losing their jobs this year.
Like that, all day. Get that mac and cheese, everybody.
Those of you who watched the 1993 World Series on television probably remember Joe Carter's historic series-winning home run. But on radio, it was Tom Cheek, the longtime Jays broadcaster, who found the perfect words for that perfect moment.
Touch a ball, Joe! You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life!
A memorable call